Beholgar, the main barbarian protagonist, returns home after 20 long years when suddenly, between the fog, a strange tower that was not there before is now visible. Upon arriving at the village, he is informed that the evil sorcerer Hagma has returned, and to get to him, we'll need the help of the dragons to save the land, defeating every living demon on our path in order to slay the army of the evil sorcerer.
The inspiration in the Castlevania series is very clear, so expect plenty of platforming action with some metroidvania elements, and despite the adventure being relatively small, it's indeed very challenging. So be prepared to die a lot. Like many video games of the time in which Beholgar is inspired, the story is direct and serves as an excuse for Beholgar to be able to give some use to his sword and show off his barbaric strength to those he abandoned 20 years ago. As said, the game maintains that classic side-scrolling gameplay of the time, but as a whole, it drank its inspiration on Castlevania II: Simon's Quest. The backtracking is evident and necessary, and not just going forward killing everything that moves. That means that we can return with new powers to finish exploring a certain area and discover other buried secrets and upgrades, like improvement in the capacity of secondary weapons, some ring that grants a passive ability, and chests filled with money, useful to buy the different rings that some merchants sell and can facilitate some aspects of our quest. In fact, the game has only 7 zones, which can take up to something between 20 and 30 minutes each to explore, but again, be prepared, cause if you die, you will lose all the money. Even so, checkpoints are present and even a very basic quick trip to travel between the areas we have already visited. Also, new skills can be earned, such as the double jump or the possibility of creating a block to jump to, but sadly, these are not excessively exploited. As said, Beholgar can be considered as a difficult game, just like in the good old days of the classic attempt and error over and over again. There are many parts of the levels designed in a way that prompt you to look if there is something below, what 90% of the time results in basically dying. So be prepared to die countless times due to damage from the environment or by falling into nothingness, more than by the enemies themselves. And within the limitations of movement and attack of the character, varying the latter in relation to the weapon he carries, it's not that difficult if we have a precise plan after learning all the enemy's pattern of movement. For instance, it's easier to slay bosses than to travel the path to get to them. Don't get me wrong, the let's say generic enemies are not complicated to defeat, but they require patience to know when to attack them. On the other hand, it is true that secondary weapons such as spears or magic balls help a lot to not even have to approach them. If you're one of those who easily give up on the difficulty, this game is definitely not for you, but if you like the genre and have already experimented in similar games, this one is right up your alley. Kudos to the indie team that created a visually quite powerful and detailed title, with this outstanding handcrafted pixel art and sound design that just fits perfectly with the style of the game, complementing the experience in such a genuine way. So if you're one of those who like challenges, metroidvania-like games, and especially platform action games of the 80s and 90s, Beholgar is highly recommended, and expected to be also released for consoles in the near future. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in my next video. Cheers!